Little is known of the 5th pharaoh of the 19th dynasty, who is recorded as being a son of King Merneptah and once stood as presumptive heir. As a headstrong member of the royal family who has gained considerable wealth by controlling many of Egypt's gold mines, he remains bitter that he was passed up in the line of succession. Instead, he received a distant posting as Viceroy of Kush, while his half-brother Seti was favored. Amenmesse's ambition to stake his claim is matched only by his access to Egypt's vast riches. Wise and worldly and less aloof than many leaders, his willingness to ally with foreigners gives him a further edge over his rivals. For the playstyle, he has access to vast wealth, a safe starting location, but susceptible to rebellions. Regarding unique units, we find some very strong archers to defeat rivals from a distance, but units are expensive. Starting off with Kushite Archer Militia, the Kushite Runners, Nubian Spearmen, Nubian Swordsmen, Nubian Slingers, Nubian Mercenary Bowmen, Kushite Royal Guard, Nubian Chariots, Kushite Chariots, Kushite Armored Archers, and Tasseti Longbowmen. For the faction buildings, we find the Kushite Delegate School, which adds a workforce growth of +7 to the province, production all resources +15%, and diplomatic relation +5 with non-Egyptian factions. The downside is -2 to influence. Next up we find the Hidden Rooms, which gives +2 to legitimacy, +4 to happiness in the province, a bronze income of +50 for the region, food income 110, stone income +40, and +15 for wood from the source buildings. The downside here is the building gold upkeep -80 for the region. And finally we find the gold mine labor village, which provides a gold income of +90 to the region where it's built from the source mines. The downside is once again -2 to influence. Reaching the faction summary for the strength and weakness unique to the faction, as well as the key concepts. We start off with the faction buildings. As stated, we get more gold from the mines and we can turn gold into the legitimacy. The downside here is that unique buildings lower your influence. For the faction units, we find the strongest archers, we have a good defensive infantry, but we lack charging. For the commands, we gain legitimacy with the golden masks, and we reduce gold cost of units and buildings. For the court, we can buy court actions with gold, and we have the starting position as Viceroy of Kush. For the outpost as Amenmesse, you start with a single outpost, a Shrine of Amun in Kerma. The Shrine of Amun increases the experience of units each turn. Pray there to increase experience earned in battle by the army's units for a few turns. For the native units, you start in Kush, which shares its native units roster with Nubia. It has two main tribes of units. First off, the Nubian units are cheap and decent at holding a defensive line. Use them to protect high-value units that need to stay away from melee. Kushites are better trained and their bows give them extra range compared to other such units. Use them to weaken the enemy line before they charge into yours. Your titles exchange gold for campaign and battle bonuses. You can use them to specialize in Nubian or Kushite units. In campaign, you can improve gold income and influence. Legitimacy as Amenmesse, you start in Kush and own 4 sacred Egyptian lands. To gain more legitimacy, expand either north towards Waset along the Nile, or to the west towards the rest of Kush. Both options offer additional sacred Egyptian lands. The desert to the north hold bronze and gold mines, but they grant no legitimacy. Ancient Legacy as Amenmesse, choose the Ancient Legacy of Khufu the Builder. Use it to build great wonders in Upper and Lower Egypt, cementing your claim to be the greatest pharaoh of the new kingdom. Your starting equipment as Amenmesse is a medium shield and an axe. Use your bodyguard units to break through the ranks of well-armored units. Terrain and weather in Egypt and the surrounding deserts, sandstorms and sweltering heat occur often. Egyptian units commonly wear light or medium armor, giving them swiftness on the battlefield. In difficult terrain, they can maneuver better than their enemies. Many of them are also resistant to heat, allowing them to ignore penalties from sweltering weather. And finally, as Amenmesse, we have the worship Amun. You can construct shrines for all Egyptian gods more easily. Shrines of Amun grant more experience per turn to your units in the respective regions. Use them to train your armies without fighting. Amun's prayers increased the experience earned in battle for all units in its respective army. The devoted general army gains even more experience from the fighting, and all its units have increased speed in battle. That's it for this quick faction summary. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave that like and subscribe for more Total War content. See you in the next one.
The Viceroy of Kush takes care of Nubian and Kushite territories. He makes sure their mines sustain the wealth of Egypt and keeps the unruly warriors under the Pharaoh's heel. It is a proud and distinguished title bestowed upon worthy men. My son Amenmesse disagrees. I granted him dominion over our lands to the south, full of riches and free for him to barter with or conquer. Yet all I receive in return is bitterness and resentment. The more his wealth and influence grows, the more dangerous he becomes. Amenmesse has no love for his brother Seti and his wife Tausret. He could stake his claim as a prince of Egypt by challenging his brother for the throne. Perhaps it was a mistake to send him so far from my oversight. Or perhaps his fortune is a message from great Amun. Could it be that one day this gold-kissed son of Egypt is destined to trade the title of Viceroy for the divine role of Pharaoh?